Hey guys, Glenn here from Ready Set Piano, and today I want to talk about double sharps and double flats. Why do we have them? What are they? How do we play them? What do they look like, etc. All right, so double sharps, double flats. In the worship series, in lesson 2, I actually started talking about double flats and double sharps, or actually more accurately, I created this document which I put in the lesson page. And it includes, I'll just zoom in here, and you'll see over here that it actually included double flats here and double sharps here. Okay, so double sharps and some double flats in some other areas as well. So I thought I should address them because I didn't address them before. So let's kind of have a look at them. What are they, and what's the why, what's the point of them? Okay, so you can see here we've got just over here, all right, where my hand is, we've got a double flat. So it's literally just, two flats kind of put together. Now the double sharp doesn't look quite as obvious as that, if you know what a sharp looks like, but there it is there, that's a double sharp. So, and basically really, when you see it on on the notation, it's some kind of a version of a cross really, like a put on a side cross, all right? That's the double sharp, okay? So, we might let's see if I can just pull up the piano for you, and we'll talk as to why we do that, and we'll go from there. All right, so piano's just moved there a little bit for us. Let's just move it back a tiny little bit there. Sorry about that, guys. All right, wonderful. Okay, so when we do a scale, for example, we do, C major scale goes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. We don't go C, C, E, like we're following the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Every major scale goes with that same formula of the alphabet, just A, B, C, D, F, G, and when you get to G, you start again at A, right? Now, we have variations on flats and sharps and different things, but we're always having that same combination. We don't go A, C, D. We always do A, B, C. Hopefully that makes sense, all right? There's our C major scale. And that just happens to be all white notes, which are all natural notes, right? Okay. So when we start talking about flats and sharps, we are going to be talking about how would we, why do we call it sometimes a flat and why do we call it sometimes a sharp, which is then going to help us to understand why we sometimes call it a double flat or a double sharp. All right, so if I'm playing a G major scale, for example, and I'm using the formula tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, which I'll talk about more in the next lesson, you can hear that that's the major scale. The F sharp wants to be played, right? Okay? The F sharp wants to be played. Now, this is the G major scale. G, A, B, C, D, E. The next note's going to be F something, all right? So it's not E, G flat. It's like I'm thinking of it as a raised up F, not as a lowered G. Hopefully that makes sense. It's not a lowered G, it's a raised up sharp, raised up F, so we call it F sharp. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So when we're playing other scales, we've got the same kind of thing going on as well. So if I started, let's say I start here on the E flat, and I want to play the E flat major scale, that's the notes it's got to be, right? So this is an E flat, my next note's an F, the next note's going to be G. The next note's going to be A something, right? Because the last note was G. So the next note's A, and because this is the note I need to play to make it sound right, so it's an A flat, okay? The next note's a B something, and it's this black note here, so it's a B flat. Not an A sharp, not a G sharp, okay? C, D, and we're back to E flat. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. Now, if we were playing a really crazy key like D sharp major, in other words, the same key, right? Which it just never happens, right? I've never seen a D sharp major. My point being here, we could call that D sharp and start the scale. Now E flat, F, G, that kind of makes sense. If I start here at D sharp and then do the next note, which has to be E something, right? But I still want to hear these notes, okay? So I've got D sharp, I would have E sharp. So now the note F is actually thought of as E sharp. Okay, then I'd have here, this note here, which is a G, of course, but I need it to be F something, like to be called F something, to keep the theory, the music theory, all consistent, the patterns of the music theory all consistent. So D sharp, E sharp, F double sharp. Does that make sense? Okay, now that's a ridiculous example, D sharp major, the scale. We wouldn't, you just wouldn't have it, right? You'd have E flat, the scale, right? But there are times when it's quite possible that we want to raise a note because of the music theory, a legitimate music theory reason. We want to raise that note, and it's already been raised. It's already a sharp, okay? So let's say we talked about in lesson 2 of the worship series about augmented chords and diminished chords. So an augmented chord is where we raise the 5th note. Now, here is C major, the chord. When I raise the 5th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're talking about the notes of the scale, that's going to be a G sharp, right? That makes sense. So it's not an A flat because we've raised the 5th, okay? Right, we've raised the G, so that's why we call it a G sharp. Now, if I'm playing another one, F sharp, the chord F sharp, G, A sharp, and C sharp, if I want to play F sharp augmented, I've got to raise the 5th, just like I did with the C chord. So I've raised a C sharp, so it's now called C double sharp. So this note here, which is obviously a D, we're going to think of it, refer to it from a music theory point of view, we're going to refer to it as C double sharp. That way, we kind of know what's going on. We know it's an augmented chord because, it's been raised. So that's kind of the idea of it. So the long story short, when you're looking at that particular document and you're going, what is that X? It's a double sharp. You just start on the G. If it's G double sharp, you start on G, go up twice. One, raise it once, raise it again. All right, so A is G double sharp. And A is also B double flat. B flat, B double flat. And there's, again, music theory reasons to do that. If we've already got a lowered note and then we want to, for the music theory reason, we want to lower that, like make a minor chord, for example, where the middle note is lowered, then we would use the concept, the idea of a double flat. All right, so if you see that, you know what to do now. And don't stress out too much about it, but hopefully that's helpful. And that's the why, that's the how, and it is actually useful. But at first it does really, it's a question I get all the time as a music teacher. Why not just call the note C? Well, that's why we don't just call it the note C when it's meant to be something else. All right. All the best, guys. I'll see you real soon. Bye.